lots of talk out there about WrestleMania 31. I think, basically WWE and Monday Night Raw was turned upside down with the whole, Monday Night Raw from Brooklyn with The Rock showing up, which, a lot of the stories are pointing at it just was coincidence. I don't know who reached out to who, if just The Rock noticed that WWE was in New York, or maybe, Triple H was checking his Twitter and saw that The Rock was in New York doing sort of promotional work and invited him to the show, and one thing led to another. But everybody saw what happened with Rusev, and there's rumors out there already with fans going crazy for a Rock versus Alexander Rusev match for WrestleMania 31. And then, of course, for when people watch SmackDown this week, there's going to be sort of a backstage segment that they're going to try and pull off that The Rock was at SmackDown as well. But basically, The Rock pre-taped this at Monday Night Raw was Rock and Triple H coming, head to head and sort of butting, speaking about the rivalry and how who's better than who. The Rock versus Triple H is one of my favorite rivalries there's ever been in the WWE. It just everything lines up with those guys so well. And Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin was a great sort of rivalry. But I think when you look at Triple H, there's no other rival that goes along with him as well as The Rock. Both of these guys came into WWE during that era of Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Rocky Maivia. They would both come in. I think Rock would beat Triple H for his first Intercontinental Championship, and I think they traded it back to where Triple H had it. They sort of faded out into the middle of nowhere. Triple H came back to life as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. From Hunter Hearst Helmsley, turning himself into Triple H, aligning himself with DX, and sort of that brought him out of that sort of 80s style wrestling where everybody had to have some sort of a gimmick, and he was from Greenwich, Connecticut, and he had his head up his ass, and he just basically was playing some sort of a French asshole, pretty much. The Rock, came out there with the streamers around him. He was the Rocky Maivia, the third generation superstar. His dad, Rocky Johnson, and his grandpa, Peter Maivia, or Chief Peter Maivia, I believe is what it was. I can honestly say I never saw a Maivia match. I only know about him because of The Rock and his WrestleMania 24 acceptance speech at the Hall of Fame, where The Rock talked about him. That's the extent of my history that goes along with him. But from there, you would go into the Nation versus DX, and then, of course, The Rock would finally get the championship, and then, once Triple H came up and he started winning the gold in 99, 2000, it was those matches when Stone Cold Steve Austin was injured and out that really carried the company and sort of picked that ball up, when everybody saw the Michael Jordan of wrestling and Stone Cold Steve Austin went down. The company just kept on lunging forward behind Triple H and his heel title run. The Rock would stand up for him, and now Rock is one of the biggest movie stars there out there is in Hollywood. Triple H is one of the I guess you could say that Vince McMahon of wrestling. He's going to be the guy who's taking over and moving into the next light. Who thought we would be there today from what it once was back there? But I guess with the SmackDown spoilers, Rock and Triple H are calling each other out, basically, trying to see who the bigger guy is, puffing up their chests. And I think that this is more than likely just some way of WWE trying to hype up, the WrestleMania season, and everybody thinking that maybe Rock is going to be there, and hopefully, with the news out there that the WrestleMania 31 main event is already sort of cemented, if there's no injuries or anything like that, then they already know which direction they're going to be moving in. With Rock being there on Monday, probably there talking to Vince, talking to Triple H, and whoever else matters along the way. You got to hope that he's going to be there. There's lots of talk about everything going down at this one, and basically everybody who's been on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast that's mattered, from Paul Heyman, from John Cena, everybody has asked Stone Cold Steve Austin to be there. So you can see that, WrestleMania 31, WrestleMania 32, the WrestleManias are still going to matter. There was one point when it was, it's just, when does WrestleMania just mean another pay-per-view? From looking at it, it is just like, how do they make it, keep getting bigger and bigger? It just doesn't make sense. You got to think at one point that you just gotta just fuck it, we can't do it anymore. How do we keep topping ourselves from here on out? But then maybe that's what NXT is so big for. But if Rock was to have a match against Triple H, I know that last year they were thinking of doing basically Triple H versus Vince McMahon, and of course they don't want to put Vince in the ring anymore, so they were going to have sort of like the power trip. Maybe they could work that storyline sort of into it, where basically Triple H is trying to put the company in one direction and thinking that it's better for business. Maybe Vince McMahon comes back and says, your champion is sitting at home. He's not even fighting on the shows, and they can be that Vince is the guy that has to bring back Brock Lesnar, and basically they're going to fight to see who's going to be the leader of the WWE into the future, and then basically Vince would have Rock fight his battle for him, and Rock, being the team WWF guy, would be willing to go against Triple H. The only thing is, Triple H has to win. So, I mean, is Rock going to put him over? I don't think Rock's going to come back for peanuts. I think WWE is going to give him whatever he wants. It's just a matter of, is Rock going to be able to be in a situation where the match is going to matter to the point of he's going to be able to go on his Twitter account and brag about the money he made, brag about the number of total viewers they had. And those are the big things that matter to The Rock, is always being better than the last time, and not taking steps backwards.